Welcome SSC 100 students. This is my week 10 commentary as we are now approaching Halloween and the end of October. This week we will continue in our examination of Luker's presentation on nitty-gritty research methods. You'll note in the book this is a 3-chapter series in which canonical research methods were addressed last week, and this week we look at field research, emphasizing qualitative methods, and then finally next week we do historical comparative methods. More on that later. Second major topic for this week is about ethical reasoning and ethics as they are lived within academic as well as community contexts. This is part of your Gen Ed appendix on your course report, and frankly a chance to learn about the nature of ethics as we collectively understand it. I'm hopeful that you will compare and contrast ethics with laws, ethics with rules, and ethics even with morals, although the overlap there is challenging, especially in the field of philosophy. Let me say that my discipline, psychology, and of course I'm biased, has played a strong role in developing practices and codes related to ethics in the social sciences. And so in this week's folder you will see some what I think are excellent resources that will give you a deeper knowledge of what ethics are, what ethics education means. Often students and the public at large assumes that being ethical is an inborn trait of most human beings, and we can certainly hope that it is. However, to have an intuition about ethics is not the same as to be well grounded in what ethics are and what ethical practice means. So, I'll be more than happy to do a separate video on this subject if there's a request from the class, but other than that, I will keep it somewhat brief. The discipline that we're looking at this week, not coincidentally, is psychology, and there you will have a chance to learn about different kinds of ethical codes, including research ethics, ethics in using animal subjects, and also clinical ethics or professional ethics that govern the conduct of psychologists who are practicing in the community. It's a big area, much bigger than most people realize, and you're only being introduced to it, so do not expect yourself to have the kind of interest that I might have after these many years. But if you can simply take a look and deepen your current knowledge of what ethics are, what ethical codes are, and how they differ from laws and rules, then it'll be time well spent. And again, you'll be reflecting on your discovery of ethical reasoning as a university requirement for graduates that is independent of any program. In other words, it's a Gen Ed requirement. So if you want to learn more about UMA's expectations as far as ethics are concerned, I'll be more than happy to point you to those resources as well. Finally, coming to Luker and this chapter 8 for this week, we'll be looking at field methods. And I think it's appropriate to study both ethics and field methods together, because it is when one gets out of the safety of laboratories and academic department meetings, buildings, and functions as a social scientist in the workplace or in the community, that the ethical dilemmas and ethical challenges really become high stakes issues and judgments that are made. So we're looking at field methods this week, and we'll look at such things, the difference between an interview as a field method and simply a conversation, We'll look at ethnographies and so forth. And here the goal is not to master these, this is introduction, but to realize what field research is, how it differs from experimental research, and particularly experimental research in the laboratory. One of my fond goals for this course is that social science students will be able to clearly differentiate experiments from research in the much broader sense of the word. Okay, that's the overview for the week. You'll see that in November, as we enter our next module, you will be given essentially encouragement to focus on your course project and your e-portfolio. We will radically reduce the amount of new course content so that you might have time to develop those two central assignments in the course. More on that later. Have a good week, and don't hesitate to call if I can help.